Okay, guys, we may be rolling now. Kate may chime in and let me know if this is working or not. Kate, if you could text me, that would be great. I don't quite know how to see your text. Or your messages. So let me go and see if I can see that. She says I'm here. Guys, yuck, YouTube craziness. I'm so sorry about that, but we're going to go ahead and get started. And the good news is, if you do need to get on with your day, this video is going to live right here. So we're good to know. Okay, awesome. Yay. Thank you so much, Kate. Kate to the rescue. Okay, well, we're going to go ahead and jump in. For those of you that are just now hopping on, we're doing some homepage copy audits today. What I thought would be just a few people applying ended up being 100 of you. So I would love to get to all of them, but I can't quite get to all of them. So my big goal here is to make sure that no matter whom I'm talking to or what industry they're in, that you get actual practical takeaways that you can apply to your website. So we're going to go ahead and get moving and grooving. The first one that I have, and I don't know how to see the chat. Let's see. How do I see chat? I don't know. Maybe we'll figure that later. Somebody say something. Let me see if I can see it, because I do kind of want to be able to talk to you guys. Let's see. Boom. There you go. Danielle's here. Okay, now I got it. Okay, cool. Ashley, Chelsea. Yeah. There you go. Danielle's here. Okay, now I got it. Okay, cool. Ashley. If I can silence this. Chelsea. Ha. I can silence this. Chelsea. Turn the volume down, that's one way. Okay, because I want to be able to see and talk to y'all. So we're just going to go ahead and jump into these. I think I can share my screen. So right now, share, you're going to see the tunnel. And hopefully now you can see our first website that we're going to look at here. This is Jade. Yep, you can see it, right? Jade, Hebby, I think that's how you say her name. Coaching's website. Yay, you can see it, I can see it. Okay, let's go through and look at this. So one thing that I love about Jade's website is that she's got this great hero image. And I understand, Jade, why you've probably put this copy right here that I've highlighted over just a color block, because I'm imagining that when it's over the full image, it's a little bit difficult to see. One thing that I like is that you have said it's time, and you visually explained that with this image. That's one big takeaway for everybody. That's something that I feel like I learned the hard way when I was working with someone on my brand imagery, is that so many times I was saying something with my words and not visually explaining it with an image. So that's something that is a good takeaway no matter what you do. If you can get your imagery to directly reflect the copy, that's our goal here. So that, Jade, is a huge win for you. I would challenge, Jade, this copy in the text that you have it here. One thing that you will learn about me if you are new or if we haven't hung out before is that copy dictates design hand over fist over fist over fist all day, every day. So as beautiful as this font is here, it's difficult to read. And so for me, that makes it null and void. I would rather see this very, very easy to read. Can anybody else relate to me on that? It's a beautiful font. I don't mind it being in your logo, but it is hard to read here. I also let's talk about the navigation bar copy that you have. It's very clear and descriptive. I can understand each thing along the way. I tell my students a lot of times this top right-hand corner is going to be where you want to put the thing that you would love people to click on the most. They'll look up there before they maybe will go through other things. So this is really wise of her. And she's got this great call to action right here. Let's see if we can say, yep, down at the bottom of my screen, I can see that that goes to her Work With Me page. Jade, you're off to a good start already on this. Marie, I don't know if that's your name, La Marie Portraiture, you said, yes, the easy to read font versus the script, 100%. Okay, then she says, beaten out by trauma, think there's no way out of it. There is a way, and you don't have to do it alone. As a trauma survivor, okay, this is great. One thing right here, can you not center align this? I want this to be left aligned. It's difficult to read, center aligned, and I also want you to break this up. So where's a good spot for you to break this? Fallen in the pits of crawdad, I fought for my recovery, and you deserve to fight too. This line is so strong that I would challenge you to put this line of copy on a line by itself, okay? And then break here as well. I would also break here and put this on a line. The grammar police are not gonna come get you because you don't have your proper number of sentences per paragraph. So kind of get that mindset out of your head and know that it's more important to break things up along the way. This is a call to action. Maybe see what happens if you make it look like a button, like you have here. Everyone has a story to tell. Jade, you're in a good position though. There's some good stuff here. Again, what are your guys' thoughts? Those of you who are in the chat, what do you think about this? I can more easily read this than I can this copy right up here at the very top, but let me know what you think there. I think these are good as well. Perfect. Great. Okay, you're off to a good start on your homepage, Jade. That's my biggest takeaway from you is make this a little bit more easy to read. Okay, so we're going to keep going. I pulled 5 together for us to work through today. So I'll bring the screen around to me before we jump into our next one. Okay, you see me okay? So that's our first one, Jade. Great job there. What kind of questions do you have for me, those of you who just watched that, and you can see some takeaways? Some big ones we want to focus on. Make sure that the copy that goes over your hero image is unbelievably easy to read. Think about that. When people are landing there, you don't want to make it any harder for them to think than it already is. And then when in those moments where you have an opportunity to center the text, I know it's pretty, but especially for a paragraph, I want you to left align that. Justifying is another option that you can do with your copy, but truthfully, I would rather you just left align that. I know that that may be a little bit uglier or not as pretty and in tune with the design that you had in mind, but that's really going to be the best situation for people to actually read it. Yeah, let's see. Danielle chimed in and said, the font is beautiful, hard to read. Scripts like that, more for accents. Yeah, more for the accents. Okay, so we're all on the same page there. Jade, great job. Let's move on to the next one. All right, pull up my notes app where I have these because I didn't want to share people's first and last names just in case they didn't want them on. The next one we have is a business called This Creative Next. Ashley, are you here right now? Go ahead and pull this up. It's thiscreativenest.com. Okay, I'm so excited. So I'm going to share this screen. And her big question is it clear enough for my audience to know where to go next for their specific concerns? If they're looking for a live wedding painting, is it clear where to go next? If they're looking for custom artwork commissions, do they know how to get there? Okay, so pull up my questions again so I can see you guys and talk to you. And thanks for all the comments. Catherine, some of you are dropping some bombs in there, some really great tips. And I'm imagining, I know that there's people that know way more about design than I do in the chat. So thank you for those of you that are doing it. Okay, one thing right off the bat I'm noticing about Ashley's website is she has her cookies bar come up. So this is a great thing. If you don't have your website ready to go as far as your privacy policy, I've done a whole YouTube video on that, and I can direct it to you. I'll put that in the comments below. But we want to say yes. This is also a good opportunity. Let's see. So one thing that, Ashley, you may need to look at, you've got a cookie bar down here. So let's say accept. And your chat comes up right away. And I see now that this cookie. So one good thing, no matter what, everybody put this on your list, use the incognito window of your browser and go to your website, because that's when you're gonna be able to see any pop-ups that you have installed, any cookie bars, all that kind of stuff is gonna come up when you look at an incognito window. Hi, Trina. So, because what all that to say, Ashley, it's very confusing that right away your chat opportunity, which I think is a great thing, and we could talk about how you can all install something like that on your website, but it comes up too soon. I'm not quite ready for it yet. So I'm going to X out of this because this is what I want to see first. Right off the bat, I haven't gotten to know you yet. I haven't gotten to see what you're about, what you offer, and so I need that right away. Let me pause and say the fact that you offer live wedding planning, that is something that I didn't have in my wedding budget and I wished I did, so I love that this is what you do. In an era of selfies that last 24 hours, iPhones full of blurry pictures and boxes of old photos collecting dust, I believe in timeless art that stands the test of time. Awesome. Okay. Let me know, Ashley, are you one of my CFC students? Just out of curiosity. Okay, I'm just going to cut to the chase. First thing, I'm a believer in the Oxford comma. It makes things easier to read. So can you give me a comma right here after pictures? A refresher here for grammar nerd communications. An Oxford comma, we just want to separate a series of like articles with like if we're giving a pulled together list of things, we want to separate each one with a comma. So selfies that last 24 hours is one thing. iPhones full of blurry pictures is another. Boxes of old photos collecting dust is the third one. Put me a comma right here, please, right after the S. This is a great statement. So I would make this big and standalone. I would make this smaller and up above. That's called eyebrow copy. So for example, just to show what my website looks like, around here is eyebrow copy. It's up above. It isn't as important. You can read the next line and get the gist of it. So that's what I would want you to do with this. Make this a little smaller and make this your big token. Start here is, it's a strong call to action. I want to click it. It looks clickable as a button, but I'm not quite sure what I get when I click on that. Now, looking down in the left-hand corner, I don't know if y'all can see that. That shows the URL that it goes to. It goes to her About page. I guess that makes sense. So it's just an option. When people click on this, do they understand what they're going to see? Good for you. Okay. Good for you. It has the power to move you. It brings you into your first dance. This is so great. I really think, Ashley, you ring a bell as you've been a copywriting for creative student. I don't, again, back to what we were saying earlier, I don't mind that this is all center aligned. This first paragraph is a little bit harder to read. The second one is a lot easier. I also like how Ashley's gone in and bolded different words along the way. Be sure that you're using bold, italic, underline. You're using those kind of things to your advantage. Pull up a chair and stay a while. Can you give me a line break here? Can you start, what can I help you with today on a new line? Custom artwork, live wedding painting, learn watercolor. Way to go. These are super clear. I know exactly what I get when I click on each and every one. Don't waste any more time looking for the most meaningful way to commemorate what matters to you. Custom artwork is the answer, whether created live and in person. Let's see. I don't love custom artwork as the answer. I like this first part a whole lot. Can you say, let's see, custom artwork. One more time looking for custom artwork. I don't know. Am I the only one? I just don't like this sentence much. It's a little too harsh for what we're talking about. Because all that's like, just to play devil's advocate, there's plenty of other ways to commemorate what matters to me, right? So custom artwork is a solution. It's not the one and only answer, though. Marie gave a great piece of feedback. Ashley, when you watch this playback, she said, I'm not sure what she does when I land on her site. Perhaps that is clear in the marketing. Okay, so let's look back up at the hero. Yeah, maybe that's something, Ashley. I understand because you have this live wedding painting. Let's see what she does. Custom. Okay, if all you do is weddings, that's a message that's missing from up here, Ashley. So can you talk about weddings? Maybe, truthfully, maybe the best way that you explain what you do here is with an image of you painting. I think that would solve it. So could this hero image be you in work at a wedding? And I'm sure that after all the weddings that you've done, I'm sure that you've worked with enough photographers that you have one of those that you could use and give credit on your website. But I think that would be a really clear way to say what you do right off the bat. You guys give such good feedback in the chats. Thank you. Let's see, Danielle and Alex. Yeah, what kind of custom artwork? So let's see, let's go back to that area. You could even say, you know what, you could even cut this out and say, have 2 call to action buttons. Also, do you offer this? I don't think you do, so I would pull that out. That's confusing. How about just put this sentence and then instead of communicate that you do live in-person art visually, remove sepia tone photograph. That's a confusing message since you don't offer it. And make this call to action, the CTA button, view custom artwork services, because pretty much everything that you do is custom art. Okay, let's look at this. So perfect. Okay, one thing I'm going to tell you right away is what we talked about on the other website. Chop this paragraph up for me, please. It's a little bit too long. It's, let's see, 1, 2, 3. It's 4 long sentences. I usually try to do no more than 3, usually 2. So I would chop it right here. I would chop it right here. And since this probably goes to your about page, can this be a little more direct? Meet me, learn more about me. Because a few times you use learn more or something that's a little generic and I'm not quite sure what I'm clicking on. Look at how specific. You kill it in these. You're so specific. I know exactly what I'm going to get after I click on it. So tell me a little bit more right here what I'm going to get when I click here. Oh, I love it. Blackwood Birth Photography. What is your actual name? I also feel like we may have communicated online before. You give a great tip. She says, I would love to see you working. That would be so passionate. Yes, that is, see if you can put that on your list, Ashley. I think that would be tremendous. And I like that you have these rotating through. You've done an incredible job. Look at how much she's trimmed. Well, there's one that's a little long. As great as this is, first of all, they move way too fast. So if you are using some sort of slideshow option on your website, be aware of the speed that it's going in. Again, back to please plug your website into an incognito window and look at it. Sometimes these kind of things don't show up or they may change browser to browser. That, even as weird as that is, that's happened to me before. Safari will show something different than like a Chrome browser, but these are going at the speed of light and I can't quite read through them. I do like how much she's trimmed most of them down. They're pretty easy to read, but they are going so fast that I don't have time, especially to read this one. So can you chop that one up a little bit? Okay. A couple more things. Ashley, once I get to the bottom of this page, can you direct me where you want me to go next? Your work is beautiful. I think you've done a great job. Chelsea. Okay, thank you so much, Chelsea. I wanted to know your name. So let's review Ashley's website before we move on. I would make this part right here some eyebrow copy. So again, that's just when we're making it copy that's okay. If we're comfortable, we're saying we are way okay if people don't read this, okay? But this next part, we want them to read, right? We don't want them to miss that. So we're gonna pull that out. Ashley, and I want you to make that stand alone. Your start here button doesn't completely bother me, but can you make it a little more clear? This goes to your about page. Truth be told, you telling me start here, I would think I'm gonna click this and land on your services page. So just think about that. I think you've done a great job driving to your email list here. I don't have a complete problem with these. I like the center text makes it a little hard to read, but that's okay. Also, just a side note style thing, can you uncapitalize first dance? You've done a great job bolding different things. Way to go. You've also bolded words that are trust invoking. Look at how trustworthy all those words are. Give me a line break right here. Make it a little easier to read. You've done a great job with your call to actions being very specific. Here, what we want you to do, this block needed probably the most work. Can you take this sentence and cut it out? Just focus on this great sentence and make this clear: view custom art services. Come down here, chop this paragraph up into probably about 3 different paragraphs. Instead of learn more, make it more specific to what I get when I click on it, which is you and working with you. Chop that long testimonial up that was just on the screen above and make these slower to flip through and give me a call to action at the bottom. And that's it, right? Just all that. This is a great website. Ashley, you're well on your way. So let's see if I can come back again. It gives you that, like, I always want to call it a tunnel of love, that tunnel vision, and then it comes back. Okay, so how are we doing? I think I've got 3 more that I want to get to along the way. So we've done Jade, we've done Ashley. This is so fun. Okay, next up we have Jill M's website. Jill's website, she's a stationery designer of Twin Sisters Designs, twinsistersdesigns.com. And she needs a hook. This will be fun. Okay, so let's go to twinsistersdesigns.com. Sweet. All right. First of all, beautiful, beautiful logo. Danielle, you're so welcome. I hope these are helpful because, like I said, I said it on the other live when we tried this a couple of different ways. Sometimes the best business advice I get is when I just hear something for somebody else's business and I apply it to my own. That has moved the needle and made me money along the way. So sometimes it's good to get outside of our heads a little bit. Okay. Who did I say this was? Jill. That's right. Jill. Jill. What are your first impressions, people in the chat box, when you look at this? This is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful as far as I know. So one thing that we want to, you said you need a hook. You need a big idea. That may be a bigger question than we can just tackle right here, but we're going to give it a go. The hero image so clearly articulates what she does that it doesn't bother me that there's no copy over the hero image. Her logo and her navigation bar do a really great job explaining what she does. I think it's pretty, we can go ahead and start to imagine that she's a stationery designer, right? She's got a gallery, details inquire, this picture. So right off the bat, Jill, I'm not completely upset that there's no copy explaining who you work for, but I'm hoping that I see that right away. Yeah, Tiffany said, I expect to see words in the middle. I'm with you, Tiffany. It doesn't bother me, but I need my curiosity and my questions answered right away. So if we think about the concept behind every single headline out there, the headline just needs to be good enough to get them to read the next piece of copy, right? And then so on and so forth all the way down the page. So an image can serve that same purpose. If the image hooks me and answers enough questions to get me to scroll, I don't have a problem. So let's see. Boom. Bespoke. Okay, so there you go. Let's think about why could she then put this copy up on this hero image? What do you think in the chat box? I don't have a problem with it being down there. I really don't. Let's see, mobile wise, what do we get? Probably mobile, it's still below. Okay, it didn't change. So maybe on mobile, Jill, this copy is above, on top of this image. That would be an idea for you. Welcome. I'm so glad you're here to inquire about the bespoke stationery for your next occasion. If you're looking for beautiful stationery that incorporates artisan details to reflect your personality, you're in the right place. Read more, okay? She's an old school that believes in chivalry, romance, and love. That's great. This is fabulous. And I like how you have your rotating portfolio. Let's see how many images are in here along the way. One thing that you could do, because you have a gallery up here, Jill, I would trim this down to just your best work. I also like that you have some couples in here along the way. That's a good job that you're doing there of showing your ideal client that they're in the right place. You're not just showing stationery, but they're able to kind of see message match a little bit, and they're in this position so they can see these photos and relate to them. But this is so many different types of images that it's a lot. Like okay, here we go. Now we're back to the beginning. Can you pull out about half of these? I want you to just give me your very best work, because right now, like I would keep your couples, and like this is great. You know which work you like best. I would just pull some of it out. There's a little bit much. This is one thing I go either way on. And I tell my students and clients, what I want you to do here is be real, like have your ear to the ground on understanding your client funnel, your sales funnel. Sometimes having your inquiry questionnaire on your homepage, whereas quote unquote best practices would tell you not to put it there. If you are getting qualified good leads from having your inquiry form on your homepage, it doesn't bother me, but traditionally I would not put it here, because I want them to click through a little bit more. I want to rule out the discount divas. I want to make sure that people are reaching out, are really targeted and know what they're coming for. But again, businesses are all different. So Jill, with her business, she may be getting great people here. So that doesn't bother me too much here. I would put a call to action button, Jill, at the bottom of this page that directs me to your services page or details right here. I would give me a call to action there. Let's see. Danielle, okay, La Marie Portraiture. Are you Marie? Let me know what your name is. I think most of us tend to agree that it would be okay if you did have some copy up here. I think you have your big idea. It's a little buried. So when she's talking about her big idea, her hook, what we're saying here is that we need that one differentiating factor. We need Jill to tell us why she's different from other options that her ideal client may look to go to. I think that you have it buried, but it's not all pulled together. One thing you could talk about is personality-driven, artisan details. Do you predominantly work with people in the Indiana area? I think that would be important. I think that this does a good job taking that up as well. Let's see. Danielle said not having it there makes me want to scroll. I like that it's answer right under. Okay, I do too. It doesn't bother me. One thing that I think is a waste of breath in your copy is saying welcome. I don't typically like copy that says, hi, I'm so-and-so, if all the name of your website is your name and there's your photo. Just maybe give me something else. Welcome, I kind of feel the same way about. So how can you, don't waste this breath and tell me a little bit more. Again, I think artisan is a strong word that you should use a little bit more. You've used bespoke twice, so maybe back off that. You're in the right place is strong words. So maybe that's something that you lead this with instead of welcome. And give me a call to action at the bottom. Okay. So those are my thoughts there. I forgot how talking on lives makes me a little bit dry voiced. Okay, we're gonna do, this is a good one. So Fiona at Creative Fix, you are next. Fiona said her question is about her business in general, but she thinks that it's reflected in the copy on her homepage because they offer very event and client-specific services. So she doesn't think that people understand a clear picture of what she offers and how they can serve them. Give me a hand raise and emoji if you've ever, emoji hand raise in the chat box if you've ever felt like you're not conveying that when people land on your website. So essentially what the Creative Fix does is arts management consulting. So let's go ahead and skip over to that. Make sure I have this URL correct. creativefix.co.za. And again, let's see. Okay, so what we want to be able to give her some feedback on, Fiona. Do we get a clear picture of what they do and how? Okay, I can already say right off the bat, no. Okay, let's camp out here for a little while. Let's see. Emma gave hands up. Hi, Emma. Okay, so right off the bat, my eye is super distracted. There's so much to look at. The communications and project management research, training, and facilitation consultancy. This is a lot of words. Offering strategy and support to clients in the cultural, creative, and entrepreneurial sectors. Okay, there is a word called jargon, and basically jargon is industry lingo and speak that is a little bit stodgy. There are going to be times in your copy where you want to use jargon, actually, and then there's times where you don't want to use jargon. So think about if you are, let's say that you are teaching photography skills to photographers that have established businesses. You're going to want to use jargon like off-camera flash and light kit and different kind of words that's going to clue your target market into the fact that you know what you're talking about. So when people, I actually don't agree with the pull all the jargon out conversation. I think that there are going to be times when it's really valuable for you to use jargon in. Let me think of some different, Emma, I know your business, for example, you're going to want to use jargon to a certain extent because that is going to be how you prove to other business owners that you actually know what you're talking about. For those of us like Danielle and let's see, or no, Blackwood Birth. What's your name again? Let's see. I don't think you've told me your name. Can you tell me your name? Chelsea, right? There's going to be others of you who we do want to pull away from using that jargon, because especially those of you who are B2C, for example, business to consumer. So one thing that I would say right away is that, Fiona, this is got to go. There's going to be we need to get much more clear on how to say this. And I would chop up there. So what you need also is a navigation bar at the top. If you think about the user experience of this page, we want to be able to guide people through the process. And right off the bat, there's way too many options for them to click on. There's way too much copy here along the way as well. I like one thing that she's done well. So if you have an opportunity to use subhead or crosshead copy right here, one thing that you don't want to do is, do you remember on the last website we looked at, it said welcome, and it's kind of like, well, duh, it would say that here. We don't want this to say testimonials or something kind of vague. It's more helpful if it's a little bit more descriptive. Again, these are scrolling entirely too fast. Anybody that has a slideshow on your website, I want you to go look at it because we're seeing this a couple of times, and make sure that it is a way slow enough to read. Another thing that I want everybody to do is trim your testimonials. This one is not too long, but most of the other ones that have come across Fiona have been too long. I did a YouTube video one time on how to trim down these. I also teach my students inside Copywriting for Creatives how to trim down your testimonials. So that is one thing that I want you to look at. I would also get a picture of two of you together, because right now you're giving me two different, no, you can't click on these, two different call to actions to click on there. Okay, there's a lot of things here, Fiona, that I would change, but one thing I'm going to tell you in particular is scratch the jargon that you have. How do you, when you are talking to people, how do you actually say what you do? I would lead with that instead of this. And then another change up that I want you to make this week is to slow this down, and I want you to pull out, I want none of your testimonials to be longer than this one right here. Okay. There's a lot we could go over on Fiona's website. That's not a bad thing. It's exciting when you have so much stuff to pack in that we need to figure out how to explain it a little bit better. So the last one that we're going to go to is Gracie's website. And it is, maybe we'll have time to do a couple of y'all who are here live after this. littlefoxpapery.com. And she says she wants to know, where do we want to click first? First of all, I love that you're using a quiz. Okay, right off the bat, as far as your navigation bar, pull off home, because I'm hoping that when I click on your I almost called it your monogram, your logo, that I'm going to go home every time, pull that off. And I'm confused as the difference between wedding and artwork. Okay. So can you understand how that is? As an outsider, I don't quite understand the difference between the two. I love that you have your hero image a little bit shorter, and I know exactly what I'm getting when I get on this website. Props to you. Way to go. It's my mission to transform. Fantastic. Once again, you're super clear, to the point. War Eagle, Gracie. Perfect. Perfect. Okay, and you've got, you could add a few more testimonials here as well. I also like that your homepage is as short as it is. I think that you're getting straight to the point. You're directing them where to go. So one thing that I do want you to add, you're pulling them to your About page here. Where are you going to pull them to your Work With Me page? So after this testimonial, can you give me some sort of canvas or information that makes me want to go ahead and figure out how to work with you, if I can do that? Yes, love her title, Artfully Timeless Custom Wedding Stationery. That's a great point. I agree. I think that we know exactly what to get here. Okay. Let's go and click around. I'm going to stop screen sharing. For those of you who are here, can we do a few of your websites? Like I said earlier, we had 100 different people apply, so I'm not going to be able to go through all of those, and I'm sure that some of you did mention, but whoever can chime in first in the chat with your homepage, if you want us to look at it, that would be great. So I'll wait. I know that there's a little bit of a delay, so you guys can do that. Chelsea said, I agree. The click is what I want to click on. The quiz is what I want to click on first. That might have been your goal. But one thing that Gracie's website, if you could trim up that navigation a little bit, there's a little too much to click on, by pulling out home, and then let me know what is the difference between artwork and what is the difference between that and wedding. Okay, let's go look at these. Head of House and Laura Green's website. So let's look at headofhouse.com. And can you let me know your name so I don't have to call you by your domain name? Headofhouse.com. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and switch over and start sharing this. Joelle. Awesome, Joelle. Thank you so much for volunteering as tribute. Okay. This is a great example right off the bat. Before I get to actually looking at your page, let's look at this cookie bar that you have at the bottom. There's something called microcopy, Joelle, and I want you to use every single opportunity that you have to talk to your clients and your customers and your website visitors as an opportunity to just surprise and delight them. So did you know, but you can change this copy. I know that it's sometimes we get some things from legal, or we know that we're plugging in our terms and conditions appropriately, but you can have a little fun with this. So don't be afraid to make this a little bit more on voice for you and your brand, but I'm going to go ahead and click OK so we can come out. Make a positive impact. Great, clear, to the point. Helping business owners build a thriving business by telling their stories through strategic design and smart development. Nice. I don't really have any edits there because while this is great language, it does leave me wondering what you do, but you tell me right here. One thing, what kind of design? Like branding design, or let's see what you do. Yep. And then when you say development, website development, I'm guessing what that is, not like financial development. So can you get a little more specific? Strategic branding design and smart website development, or visual branding. Just tell me a little bit more what you do there. Okay, so we've got some portfolio pieces here. Those are beautiful. View the latest. Beautiful, beautiful. There you are. Hi. Okay, there you go. So you tell me down here. Tell me up here that you do those things, okay? Right off the bat. I love that you have bolded some things. Chop these paragraphs up, especially this one. One woman design. Joelle has been officially started. Moved to the Netherlands. Awesome. I was just over there recently. Okay. This PS. Is English your first language? Just, you seem very, you're from South America and you've lived in the Netherlands. I'm guessing you don't just speak English, which is pretty cool. This is a sentence fragment, so all you need to do here is just say I've worked with. I would do little things like trim the word since out. We don't need that. It doesn't really serve a purpose. Okay, give me also a call to action button after this section as I read through this. One thing, Joelle, that I would do, you have what my students call their onlyness factor. I want you to be able to position. I had thought so. That's awesome. Yeah, I was in Amsterdam this year. It's a beautiful language. Can you get a little bit more of this message? This is your differentiating factor. Like, this is a big win for your clients. This is going to be something that they want to see. So pull that message up a lot higher. Not only do you do the design, but you know the back end development, and that needs to be a message that you lead with. I would pull your process. I don't mind that it's here, but it may be too much on your homepage. You could pull that to your Work With Me page. This is great. Okay, you buried the lead, Joelle. Move this whole canvas up. So I would actually break this into, this is a little bit, and I don't love justified text. I know designers do. It's really hard on the eyes. So break this into multiple paragraphs for me, please. Again, if inquiries on the homepage work for you, then go for it. But this sentence right here needs to be something that you pull up way ahead. I would even say you could stand to pull your about image down some. You could also have a few more, but I love the cleanness from here. This makes me want to scroll. So if you are pulling in this message up, then I would, kind of similar to when we were looking at the artist's website, can you show yourself working for me? So I see your face, but I also understand that you can do this. Such good thoughts in here. So helpful to have somebody who does design and development. It's a great onlyness factor. Thanks so much, Danielle, for that. Above the fold, work. I agree. The work does a good job expanding on the lead-in, especially because we can see it above the fold of the page and we continue to scroll. Joelle, good job. Just a few changes along the way. Okay, let's do one more and I'll let y'all go because I've had some of you have been hanging out for about an hour. Let's go to Laura's website, wanderingheartpaper.com. Okay. So pretty. Okay. Right off the bat, I'm going to tell you the same thing. Home is typically kind of an unnecessary navigation bar word because it is wasting. You know, we've got precious space that we don't want to clog up. By and large, at this point, we're internet trained to know that if you click on the logo of a website, you go home. So I would pull off home. That's a beautiful monogram, by the way. And this whole suite is so beautiful. And when you say sign up, what do I get when I click here? Probably like your freebies and stuff, right? So that's not a super, we can talk, that's more of an email marketing question, but how are we telling them that they get, like, what's in it for me? Just signing up for your updates isn't really enticing enough. So that may be a bigger question, but that's my only thought with the copy itself that says sign up that I would change. But pull off home, I don't always, like I've talked to y'all about through this whole little training, I don't love rotating images, hero images, but I don't mind them right here. I'm gonna let you get away with it because I think they do a good job describing what you do. Your wedding day will tell the story of your love. Every element should be as unique as you are. Awesome. Okay. Can you, Laura, chop this up? I want this on one line and I want this on another line. When you are reading your website, one of the most helpful things to do, and this is kind of a wireframing piece, what I want you to do along the way is read it out loud. Where do you naturally take breaths? Those are going to be where you need to chop a paragraph or a sentence. So your wedding day will tell the story of your love. Breath, every element should be as unique as you are. So these don't need to be on the same line right here, okay? So give me a chop up there. Why settle for a temple invitation everyone else can have? That's great. Good girl. Happily, you don't have to. Imagine having everything custom designed for you in every element. That's great. Okay, you've done a really good job. This is a little bit of agitation here that you've done. You've picked a pain point and you're agitating it a bit. So way to go there. Okay, what I've said multiple times here, I'm just not a fan of justified text. Justified text is fine on your website. Just be comfortable with the fact that people are not going to read it as much. So if you really want it from a stylistic standpoint, that's a-okay. But that's something that I would say here. I would break up this paragraph. That's where I come in is great. Maybe like right here, starting with my love. I would also see this is a lot of copy. So how can, Laura, can this be trimmed up? Are all of these words really, really necessary? Can you make it a little bit shorter? Does this go to your contact? Yeah. Nice. Okay. Okay. Custom clicker fee for your special. Okay, one thing that I would challenge you also to do, Laura, is look at this website. Do you see how right away we see some mastheads here that give reviews? If you've gotten more than 300 5-star reviews on Etsy, can you tell me that like really early? I think you could stand to put your copy over your hero image, but I would just encourage you to have, like, that's a killer piece of credibility and it's a little bit varied. So can you pop this up a little bit higher for me? Sometimes all caps is a little bit harder to read as well for users. So maybe think about putting this into upper and lowercase. See how much also easier that this is to read than this one? So maybe guide your user through what you want them to read. Cut that down a little bit. This one's so great. custom tag came out perfect. That's great. And I also think that, Laura, you don't need to give me the date. That's okay. Contact. So here's another example of when we want to use our crosshead copy to really explain what the next part of the process is. So instead of copy that is so explicitly telling them exactly what they get next, how can you make this a little bit more personable, and how can you direct them a little bit more? So want to work together, or interesting in partnering up, want to link arms, whatever you want to say, whatever's on brand for you. Can you give me a little bit more personality and just less cut to the chase? Does that make sense? It's just a little, I don't like crossheads that say exactly what things are. So I wouldn't, if there was copy right here that said portfolio and then you had this, if there was copy right above this that said about me, I wouldn't like that. So I'm going to be the same down here. I don't like when it's just exactly what is there. I don't really see the point of it if it's that. Looks like you use HoneyBook, so fun. Awesome. Okay. Way to go, Laura. Pat yourself on the back. I love, did y'all see how when I scroll down, finally when I hit the bottom, this came up and offered me a chance to join her on the email list. Way to go for making that come up when I get to the bottom. I know that you can do that within MailChimp. One thing I would challenge you to do is, can you, again, back to the email marketing, and I know that this is a bigger conversation. I don't think that you're in copywriting for creatives. I know we talk about email lists in there. But this right here is a little bit vague. Again, kind of like sign up at the top. I don't know what's in it for me. I like this little bit of micro copy right here, but I don't know what I'm getting or why I would want to get your email list. So that's something that, again, would be a bigger conversation, but those are my thoughts there. Okay. Well, I think that's all we're going to do, guys. Because I'm running out of, I need some water, and I need to take my baby to his doctor's appointment. But I hope that was helpful. Let me know in the chat, those of you, there's still about a dozen-ish of you here. You're welcome, Laura. Let me see if I can remember who all we've looked at off the top of my head. Fiona, Laura, Ashley. We've looked at a lot of websites. Joelle. You guys, you're doing a great job. There are some really good things about every single website. Keep editing, keep killing your darlings, keep cutting out some stuff. Don't waste any opportunity. That's one big takeaway here. There was a lot of good examples of places where there could be some micro copy, whether it's that cookie bar copy, whether it's your pop-up, whether it's pop-up once I get to the bottom of the screen where their user intent may be to leave and you've got a window that pops up. Don't waste any opportunity to add in fun copy along the way. Don't be afraid of different sizes. We talked about some eyebrow copy, making things a little bit smaller before we get to the big idea, the big hook. We talked a lot about hero images today. So how can you use that hero image to explain exactly what people get? When you're using these slideshows, are you using them well, or are you packing in all of your best portfolio work? A clean, edited slideshow with enough images for them to get, think about your user. When they land on your website the first time and they scroll down, they see a slideshow. If they stay around it, they're gonna move on typically when they see the image that they first saw. Okay, seen enough. And if that's gonna take 10 images, the likelihood of them clicking off or becoming disinterested is a lot higher. So trim it down to just your very best work or your very best client testimonials. Remember that your website is an entire guided user experience. So there's going to be a lot of opportunities for them to encounter these different parts of your brand. You don't need to pack it all in and put it all in front of their face right off the bat. What are some other things we've seen today? We saw 3 inquiries on home pages, inquiry forms. If that, again, best practices only work as far as, best practices can sometimes be pooled ignorance, put it that way. I heard somebody say that one time, and that's so true. while a lot of people say don't put an inquiry form on your homepage when you're a service provider, or there's certain rules about that, if you're getting great qualified leads and you're not spending all your time saying, no, not a fit, budget Betty, so on and so forth, then leave it there for goodness sake. It's doing its job. But if you are seeing that you're getting maybe a little bit too much volume, or people that have the same questions, and if they would just go to your services page, there's different ways that you can kind of gatekeep that along the way, but I'm not completely against it. You're so welcome. Hi, Jenna. Jenna, I don't think you commented before because I would have said hey to you. And Lover Law, I don't know what your name is in real life. Maybe that is your name. You have a fabulous name if so. But you're so welcome. I'm sorry it took us a little while to get started, but this is fun. I hope that it helped out. And this will live on the channel for a little while longer if you need to go back or if you missed some of it. And I will talk to you all next time. All right, see ya.